Good news in history. September 25, 56 years ago today, the charter establishing the Organization of Islamic Cooperation was signed in Rabat, Morocco. The OIC consists of 47 members that are either Islamic by law, Arab by lingua franca, or which contain a large Muslim population like Uganda. The opening preamble states that Muslim governments would consult with a view to promoting among themselves close cooperation and mutual assistance in the economic, scientific, cultural and spiritual fields inspired by the immortal teachings of Islam. Read more about the Union's progress over the years 1969. The OIC logo since 2011 public domain on August 5, 1970. After years of structuring, organizing and building the skeleton of the OIC, 40 foreign ministers of the organization adopted the Cairo Declaration on Human Rights in Islam to provide guidance in matters of human rights in a way that was more resonant with the Islamic world, and was basically a rewrite of the UN's Universal Declaration of Human Rights, but seen through the teachings of the Quran. The OIC has been criticized for its lack of successful engagement with Muslim-majority countries in conflict. Looking at the history of such conflicts and the belligerents pertaining, however, it's difficult to imagine what a non-governing international cooperation agreement, which the OIC essentially is, could do to unravel or solve them. Instead, the OIC has bankrolled and established institutions like universities and bodies that aid in other aspects of Islamic life, such as sports in many of the poorest countries on earth like Bangladesh and Niger. More good news on this day. The People's Democratic Republic of Algeria was formally proclaimed 1960 to a Florida judge ruled in favor of Gregory Kingsley, a 12-year-old boy seeking a divorce from his biological parents. 1902. Happy birthday for actor Michael Douglas, 80, and his wife of many years, actress Catherine Zeta-Jones, 50th on this day. 135 years ago, Congress established Sequoia National Park in California's Sierra Nevada mountains. Since that day, the protected area in which the park can be found has now grown much larger, to include the nearby Kings Canyon National Park, Giant Sequoia National Monument, and Sequoia National Forest, protecting a total of 404,064 acres, 631 sq miles, and at least 8,000 colossal sequoia specimens. Sequoia tree by Nikolay Maslov inside the park is the world's largest tree by wood volume. General Sherman is 2,100 years old, 2.7 million pounds, 200 feet tall, and 100 feet wide at its trunk. The General Sherman tree grows in the Giant Forest, which contains 5 of the 10 largest trees in the world. The early American history of the park is infamously remembered through images of chopping down sequoias, although they weren't to become anywhere near as prized as California giant redwoods, as sequoia wood was found to splinter quite easily. Prior to the incorporation by the National Park Service, the park was managed by U.S. Army troops of the 24th Regiment of Infantry and the 9th Regiment of Cavalry, better known as the Buffalo Soldiers. These segregated African American men from the South were an invaluable demographic to the military with the lowest rates of desertion. The Buffalo Soldiers completed park infrastructure projects, as well as park management duties, helping to shape the role of the modern-day park ranger. The vast majority of the park is roadless wilderness. No road crosses the Sierra Nevada within the park's boundaries. 84 Sequoia and Kings Canyon National Parks is designated wilderness and is accessible only by foot or by horseback. 1,890. Happy birthday to Mark Hamill, who played Luke Skywalker in the Star Wars film series and turns 74 today. A prolific voice actor, he has portrayed characters in many animated TV shows, films, and video games. Gage Skidmore, CC license. Mark has been getting ready to play Skeletor in Netflix's new Master of the Universe Revelation, and he recently reprised his iconic Skywalker role in Season 2 of The Mandalorian on Disney. John Favreau sent me links to reaction videos, which were just but I don't get to see these things in the audience. To see grown men cry and just people screaming their heads off, it was really, really thrilling for me to see them enjoying it so much. The Jedi Master, who often tweets back to Star Wars fans, responded last week on Twitter to someone who said, "You could just tweet your name and you'll get thousands of likes." Well, he did, and it received 570,000 likes. 34,000 retweets plus 5,000 replies, with celebrities like George Takei joining in the homage. Watch his perfect impression of Harrison Ford talking about the filming of Star Wars 1902, and also on this day in 1902, 9 black teenagers were ushered into Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas by wounded U.S. Army soldiers. One day after an unruly crowd of white protesters had blocked the students from entering the building. It was the first important test of the U.S. Supreme Court decision Brown v.S. Board of Education that ordered the integration of public schools. It was also a test of federal power over racism in the South. The world watched as the Little Rock Nine became the focal point of a showdown between Arkansas Governor Orville Forbes, who encouraged the protesters and sent his state troops to keep the students out, and President Dwight Eisenhower, who seized control of the state's entire 10-man National Guard and deployed the 181st Airborne Division from a neighboring state to enforce the law. Today, the Little Rock Central High School is a National Historic Landmark. Watch a video also on this date in 1966. The rock band U2 was first formed at drummer Larry Mullen's Dublin home. A 14-year-old student at Mount Temple Comprehensive School, Mullen posted a note on the school's notice board in search of musicians for a new band. 6 people responded. Setting up in his kitchen, Mullen was on drums, with Paul Bono on lead vocals, David Evans the Edge on guitar, and Adam Clayton on bass. The popularity of punk rock, their biggest influence, convinced the group that musical proficiency was not